Before I introduce to you the motivating problem for our review tutorials, I would like to go over the entire process of exercising object orientation, which I call the observe, model, and execute process. It's really important for you to understand this process before you actually start diving into the code. I insist. So let's now take a look at the diagram here. I will go over the diagram together with you on the iPad in just a moment, but let's now go over some important points. And I'm only going to give you some very quick walkthrough. If you want to see more detail into object orientation, you can click on this link, which I recorded earlier. You can also refer to it if you wish. So we observe how real-world entities behave. For example, entities can be persons, it can be two-dimensional points. The entities do not have to be related to each other, but they on their own must make sense. And then the second one will be the model. Based on your observations, you can model common attributes and also behavior of a set of entities in a single class, meaning that for all the relevant entities, you can group them and try to create a template for them by including their common attributes and also behavior. And usually attribute will be attributes in Java, behavior will be methods in Java, which can be either accessor or mutator. And finally, the third step will be execute. So you're going to execute the program by manipulating the templates you have created, including creating objects and also calling methods, right? So that's the observe, model, execute process I would like to go over with you. Let's now switch to iPad just to give you a little bit more details and more illustration, and then we'll give you the motivating problem for the current tutorial series. Okay, so that's the diagram you just saw on the slides. Let's now break it down into the three phases. Phase number one is over here, called the observe, over here. Okay, let me write it down. It's going to be the observe. We want to observe entities that might be of our interest for program them. So it could be entities, could be Jim and Jonathan. So these are the two entities that are simply just person. For example, you got one person here, you got another person here. They are the same. At the same time, they're also not the same, right? They are the same in the sense that maybe their attributes such as age, and also both of them got age, both of them got weights, both of them got heights. However, the age, heights, and weights might be of different values, right? So all the entities, even though they are relevant, but they might have different values for their attributes. That's a very important concept for object orientation. Another example entity could be the two-dimensional plane. For example, you can see the two-dimensional plane. We got x and y, right? Y and x over here. And we might have one point over here for 2 and 3, and got another one here for -1, -2. Right, you can see, for example, here, -1, -2. It's just another point. So now, by observing relevant entities, we may just create one template for all the points on the two-dimensional plane. That's about observation. Observation is more like a design or requirement process that you will learn in the upper year of your program. However, for the 2030, usually we will tell you what the observations are, usually. But just remember, once you go to the upper year, or when you actually go for some industrial job, you will actually have to do the observation yourself. So you better train yourself earlier. So what about the second phase? The second phase is called model. Based on the observation, we want to somehow formulate what we want to model the entities into templates, which are called classes in Java, right? So you can think about the model here is more like a process for formulate all the relevant attributes and methods that are all the relevant attributes and behavior into a particular programming language. In our case, Java. So you can let me just write it down. So this process here is called model, which is very important. It's about based on your observation, you want to model, right? Based on what you observed. And in this case, we can say for this particular kind of entities over here, we're going to formulate that into person. And for another kind of entities over here, let's say all the two-dimensional points over here, let me try to use a slightly different color here. And let's say for this particular kind of entities, we want to formulate them into the point. Okay, so you can model different entities into different classes. And the final stage will be based on the classes you have created in Java, you can now try to execute them. You can try to simulate the interactions between them. Well, maybe objects within the same class have interactions with each other, or objects might have interactions with other class of objects, right? That's something we also see in the later tutorial, but I just want to mention that quickly. So now in this case, you can see for this particular kind of class or templates, we can create different objects over here. It can be either Jim or Jonathan, right? You can see the Jim here is basically similar to the Jim that we observed earlier, right? You can see Jonathan here is the Jonathan entity that we observed earlier. You can see what do they share in common. They share in common that they all have the attributes name, weights, and heights. Name, weights, and height. However, their specific value for the attributes are actually different. You can see Jim versus Jonathan, 80 versus 80, 1.80 versus 1.80. In this case, they happen to be the same, but in general, they do not have to be the same. Similarly, let's say for another one, let me use the red. Let's say for this particular kind of a template, let's say for the points, we can now create these two objects at the runtime. You can see here, P1 actually simulates, you can see 2 and 3. So it simulates this particular point that we observed earlier. And also for P2, which would be -1, -2, that kind of simulates the -1, -2 that we observed earlier, right? Again, what do these two objects share in common? They both have X and Y coordinates. How can they be distinguished? In that case, it would be the value for X and Y coordinates. Their coordinates, well, basically the value for their coordinates. Okay, hopefully that makes sense to you. It's a very important process for you to really always keep in mind. So you should really know where you are in the process. Typically, you will start with this, but you will be spoon-fed about what the observations are. But just remember, at some point you have to be independent, and also you want to have you need to be skillful enough to observe and design. To model the templates in a programming language. Okay, that's enough about this process here, and now I would like to speak about the motivating problem that we are going to observe, model, and execute. Let's observe first of all. The problem I would like to consider is, let me see this, is a refurbished shop of the Apple products. They do have this certain shop. I want to show you on the website to show that they really exist in real life, but we're only going to model and observe a part of it. We're not going to model everything in there. That would be too big a project, right? So I want you to go to this particular website. Just go to apple.com, go to the Canadian version, and then go under shop and refurbished, meaning that secondhand, okay? Let me go to the website directly, and then I'll go over the problem description in a moment back to the iPad. Let me just show you the website. You can also explore that further yourself. I'm not sure how many of you may have seen this, but it's just one example to show you that your skills of object orientation can really be applied to some real life problem. That's why I'm showing this to you. So that's a refurbished shop that certified products by Apple, just secondhand. And you can choose the different products over here. Let's say for this particular tutorial, we're going to focus on iPad. Okay, if I click on iPad over here, there are different criteria you can choose to filter out the products they will show to you. For example, it could be the model over here. Under model, it could be iPad, maybe 9.7 inch. Currently, it's grayed out simply because it's not available. But you got 10.5, 11 inch, or 12.9 inch. Or you got iPad Air. You don't have any iPad mini, or you can buy iPad accessories, right, etc. So that's what we meant by model for the iPad. And also you can choose based on finish. It can be like a color, can be silver, can be space gray, can be gold. And currently we don't have any rose gold. And also storage can be just depending on how many gigabytes you like. And the maximum you can get will be 1,000 gigabytes or a terabytes. Finally, we got connectivity. It's basically about either, I think by default, every iPad should at least support Wi-Fi, but some iPad, which will be more expensive, also support cellular network. All right, that's the idea. And let me just click into one of them. For example, I can now say I want to choose iPad Pro 12.9 inch, and I want to choose maybe space gray, and then I want to choose maybe the only option I have is 512 gigabytes. So this is one iPad I have. You can see they kind of show you some information here, right? That's kind of the description. We would like to observe and model this in Java. So you can try to think about how you may do this before I do together the exercise completely with you. So we got the model iPad, and also we got either it's cellular or not, and also the storage, and also the finish, and you can see the price over here. The original price is $1,759, but we actually got some discount value for $430. That's why you will only need to pay $1,329 for this particular iPad, right? Of course, you can click into it, and then that will simply just summarize about the product information over here, right? And you can also change to silver if you wish, right? So that's kind of the problem we are trying to solve, right? If you're building some web app or you're trying to build some backend database, that's kind of the classes and methods you can build on your own. All right, so that's enough about the showing the website. I might still revisit later, but that's enough just for now. Let me just go to iPad to summarize the points about what we should develop, and then starting from the next video, we will really add classes and methods to simulate this real-life problem. Okay, let me summarize about the 3 different concepts over here. I can read. So as I told you before, typically in the second year, especially in 2030, we will tell you what the observations are. But sometimes, of course, I can do some exercise with you about what your observations might be and give you some feedback. But we can do that maybe during my office hour. But for now, to save time, I will tell you what the observations are based on the website I just showed to you. The observation is we got 3 classes. Okay, let me highlight them. We got products, we got entry, and also we got refurbished store. So these are the 3 templates or classes we would like to develop eventually. Okay. What about products? So all the terms I mentioned before about model, storage, finish, and etc. They will be turned into attributes into Java of the appropriate types. We'll talk about the types later: integer, string, boolean, or maybe reference type. Right. First of all, every product should have a unique serial number. Unique in the sense that no 2 iPads. Let me put it here. No 2 iPads have the same serial number. It's a very important concept over here because later in the project I'm going to show you a particular way of implementing such problem, which is so-called a map or dictionary problem. I'll get into that a little bit later. Okay, so serial number is one of the attributes that should be unique among all the iPads. So this is just one example. You can think about what type attribute it should be. Should it be integer? Should it be string? Should it be something else? And other attribute could be model, iPad Pro 12.9 for example, and finish, space gray, and storage, it could be 1 terabyte, right? I just give you an example here. And also, should it support also cellular connectivity or not, right? By default, every iPad will support Wi-Fi, but this will be something additional. So it's either yes or no. So hopefully that's already enough hints about what their attribute type should be. Okay, so that's the first class. For the second class, I would like to do a class called entry. Okay, so you can think about we are basically talking about a collection over here, and then in the collection, everything that's stored in there is called an entry, right? So we got 2 concepts over here. One is called collection. Every unit of storage there is called an entry. That's just what you need to know just for now. I will try to elaborate this diagram a little bit later. Okay, and entry, every entry in our case is going to be a pair of serial number which is unique, which can be used to identify a particular product and its associated products, right? For example, let me just go back to the website over here, right? You can see here, this is a particular model that we have chosen, 12.9 inch iPad here. There might be maybe 10 iPads in stock in the Refurbished Shop, and each one of them will have a different serial number. right? So you can see, given the serial number, you can uniquely identify a particular product, but not vice versa. Not vice versa in the sense that if I simply tell you, I want to get a serial number for, let's say, this particular, okay, let me put it here. So let's say if I want to get the serial number for this particular product, can you give that to me? I would say no, because there might be more than one items of the products that will actually have the following specification, but they might have different serial numbers, right? That's something you want to get your minds straight for this. Okay, and then the final template I would like to do is called Refurbished Store. So that's more like a collection, right? That is spoke about. We want to be able to add or remove entries from add entry into the shop, remove entries from the shop, and also we want to get maybe the store collection of entry or products. I will give you a little bit more example, more concrete example later. But I want to collect all of them as a, let's say, as an array. And also I want to get the associated product model of a serial number. Let's say given this particular serial number, it can uniquely identify a particular product or model, right? And also, let's say this will be a little more advanced, which I will also show you how to do it. But if you took 1022 with me, you might be able to do it at least with some good hints. But if not, that's okay. I'm going to teach you from scratch. So get a serial numbers of products satisfying some criteria. For example, what if I want to say in the refurbished shop? That's exactly what we did here. Let me show to you. I'm trying to simulate this real world problem here. Let me just show to you again. Let's say I want to find out in the refurbished shop all the iPads, which should be, the model should be iPad Pro, and the finish should be space gray, and maybe the storage should be 512 gigabytes. And in that case, only one particular products, which might be multiple items in the stock, but only one will actually match. So we want to be able to implement such search capability in our implementation. That's something we would like to do. All right, so that's about the problem that we're going to solve. If you like, you can take maybe a few minutes to really reflect yourself. How would you do this? Given what you have learned in the first year, how would you implement this problem in Java? Think you can sketch some idea on a piece of paper. Don't waste too much time. Think about it. And then starting from the next video, we will develop the solution for this motivating problem for Apple Refurbished Shop. Before I end the video, I would like to assign some slides to you for study. Let's go back to the slides over here. We have already done this. So for the next few slides, starting from here, about the principle for object orientation, I've already covered the points when I talk about the observe, model, execute process. You can go over them. And then I spoke about two examples. One is about two-dimensional points, and also the other example is about person, right? And I would suggest take a brief look if you are not so sure about object orientation. That might give you more idea. All the way until slide 13 over here, right? So that's the ending point for the current video for you to study for the slides.